Hello learners, I welcome you all in today's live program of NIOS. Today we are going to discuss about the concept of correlation, that is of class senior secondary learners, under which we will see that how the concept of correlation provides a sound basis for the interpretation of data. Before this topic, I would like to make you aware about the calculation and the tools of statistical data and analysis. That is, at first stage, you might have gone through the concept of arithmetic mean, median, mode, combined mean, and so many interrelated concept of calculation that gives the value, single value, to tell about the characteristics of the entire statistical data. Next to this, you might have gone through the concept of measurement of dispersion, under which you might have seen and understood that the dispersion is measuring the differences of different observations from its mid value. And we see how much the lowest score is deviated from the central tendency or central value, that is mean, median and mode, and how far the highest values are located, found there. But here what we have seen that what is different, the concept of correlation is different from the concept of measures of central tendency, measures of dispersion. Now, earlier we have gone through, and you might have gone through, the single observation of the data, under which you have made the comparative study and the single value which talks about the characteristics of the entire group. But here we find the comparative study in the study of correlation. That is what? Two variable concept. The earlier concepts were single variable concept, one variable concept. But here we are going to two or more variable concept, and we make the comparative study, that is how far the two observations are related to each other. Okay, so this is the basic of the title of the today's discussion. You might have seen, you see over here that the title slide and the picture is over there. The person is known as Pearson, who has made a lot of efforts to make the comparative study between two and more variables, two and more observations. That is why sometimes it is known as, in some other name, that is known as Pearson coefficient of correlation. Okay. So before we discuss about all the things in detail, first of all we have to see what are the various objectives which we are going to achieve in today's discussion. Let us move. After completing this lesson, you will be able to summarize the meaning of the term correlation, for which I have already discussed about the background of the concept. Determine the relationship between two variables, not only two variables, two or more than two variables. But at your standard, it is not possible to calculate the relationship of the multivariables observations to show the correlation. Calculate the different measures of correlation and analyze the degree and direction of the relationship. Degree and direction. Keep in your mind that we will discuss, and again it will come in the discussion of the concept in details. See, next is apply the measures of correlation in the daily life examples in your surroundings. Sometimes you might have seen that the comparative studies are made regarding income of the person, employment opportunity, how many people are employed and unemployed, and height and weight of the school-going children at different classes. So, academic performance, so many things are there under which we have to establish the relationship with the help of the concept of correlation. Determine and compare the value of correlation between two or more variables. Compare the concept of correlation and causation. Sometimes dependent variables are there, sometimes independent variables are there. So causation is what? Let us wait for a minute. Meaning of correlation. Have a look on this slide and you will find that what we discussed earlier in the beginning of the topic, that will be reflected over here in this slide. How we will define the term correlation? Correlation is describing the degree of to which two variables either move in same direction or in opposite direction. ठीक है? If we take the two variables, we will see that how these two variables are moving in what way. Whether they are moving in the same direction, whether they are moving in the opposite direction, and we have to establish, find out the relationship. It means that it is indicating about the things that whether the correlation is moving in a positive direction or in a negative direction. If the two variables move in the same direction, then those variables are said to have a positive correlation. And opposite to this, suppose two variables are moving in a opposite direction, that is known as negative correlation. So in place of discussing too much detail about the things, we should move further, because all things will be reflected in the calculation of correlation also, and here we will also learn about how to calculate the relationship in terms of correlation and the various formulas and methods which are being used to do that. Two or more variables considered to be related in a statistical context if their value change, so that as the value of one variable increases or decreases, so does the value of other variable. In objective, we have seen that what is the difference between correlation and causation. Okay, so what it talks about, if two variables are moving and affecting, it means that कि increase कर रहा है, दूसरा भी increase कर रहा है. So in that situation, we see the things that कि एक के प्रभाव दूसरे पे क्या पड़ रहा है. But here what we find that if their value change, so that as the value of one variable increases or decreases, thus the value of other variable. क्या एक वेरिएबल के इंक्रीज करने से, चेंज होने से, इंक्रीज और डिक्रीज करने से क्या दूसरे वेरिएबल पे इसका इंपैक्ट आ रहा है? इसकी भी हम लोग वेरिफिकेशन करते हैं कोरिलेशन के अंदर। जब इसको हम कैलकुलेट करते हैं तो देखते हैं कि वेदर दे आर द पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन और नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन। क्लियर? But what about the correlation and causation? This talks about cause and effect. You might be asking the question, how we can say that? It means that both variables are dependent to each other. That is quite obvious. एक कारण बनेगा, एक वेरिएबल कारण बनेगा दूसरे को प्रभावित करने के लिए, उस पर अपना इफेक्ट छोड़ने के लिए। आप याद करें, आपके सिलेबस में ही है। क्या है वो? कंसेप्ट ऑफ डिमांड, कंसेप्ट ऑफ सप्लाई। व्हाट वी सी दैट इन द कंसेप्ट ऑफ डिमांड, राइज इन प्राइस लीड्स टू डिक्रीज इन क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड ऑफ अ कमोडिटी at a given time, at a given place, at a given price. Contrary to this, the concept of supply, what it shows the positive relationship. Rise in price leads to rise in quantity supplied by a producer. It means that कि अंडर डिमांड कंसेप्ट हमने क्या देखा कि किसी कमोडिटी की प्राइस अगर बढ़ रही है तो उस वस्तु की, उस पर्टिकुलर कमोडिटी की क्वांटिटी पे इसका निगेटिव इंपैक्ट पड़ेगा और उसकी डिमांड कम होती चली जाएगी। दैट इज द कॉमन बिहेवियर, साइकोलॉजिकल बिहेवियर ऑफ द ह्यूमन बीइंग, एंड दैट इज द बेस्ट एग्जांपल टू अंडरस्टैंड द नेगेटिव रिलेशनशिप ऑफ कोरिलेशन। बोथ are interrelated to each other, cause and effect. One is the cause which affects other variables, but it also shows the negative relationship between two variables. The same thing is applicable in the concept of supply, and there are so many other concepts are there which shows the cause and effect relationship between two variables. You can find, if the teaching methodology is using the electronic gadgets for classroom teaching, obviously the student will perform better. On the other side, what we see that if the traditional pattern is being followed, what we see that the result is affected in a adverse way, opposite way. कॉज एंड इफेक्ट, कॉज क्या बना? इलेक्ट्रॉनिक गैजेट से क्लासरूम टीचिंग और ट्रेडिशनल मेथड से क्लासरूम टीचिंग। दिस इज द कॉज एंड इफेक्ट ऑल्सो, एंड सो मेनी अदर थिंग्स आर देयर. You can see the examples, many examples in your surroundings, and you will be able to associate these events, these examples with the concept of correlation, and you will try to find it out whether they are highly correlated or there is a no correlation or they are moderately correlated, which we will discuss about the different degrees of correlation between two variables. Clear to you? Let us move further. See what we have discussed. The next slide is showing the same thing. That is types of correlation. Other types are also there, but we have to discuss about these two types. Clear? This is classified in two parts. Correlation की study हम two parts में कर सकते हैं. First is positive and negative correlation. Other is linear and non-linear correlation. Now it has made my work easier to discuss about the things in details under this, because I have already imparted the previous knowledge about the positive and negative correlation. So simple explanation is there. What it shows? It shows the direction of the change in variables. Again, the concept of demand would be the best example for negative correlation, and concept of law of supply will be the best best examples for positive correlation. Always keep in your mind, you will never forget the concept, what will be the positive correlation and what is the negative correlation. Okay? Now the other side, for which we have not discussed about anything, and it will be quite easier for those students who are from mathematics background. Not mathematics only, I mean in class 10th you have also gone through the graphical presentation on two axes, x and y axis, linear and non-linear. Suppose one assignment is given, y is equal to 2x plus 4. Show the equation on the graph paper. What you will do that? You will put the value of x and find the value of y. This is the way to put the value x, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you will find the value of y. This is what we say there. जब आप उसे प्लॉट करेंगे ग्राफ पेपर पे तो आपको क्या मिलेगा? लीनियर इक्वेशन मिलेगा जो स्ट्रेट लाइन के फॉर्म में होगा. क्यों होगा? बिकॉज कांस्टेंट इज देयर. ओके, सब में डिफरेंस कितने का आएगा? 2x से तो हम y की वैल्यू डिटरमिन कर लेंगे, बट जब y की वैल्यू हम 0 लेंगे तो x के वैल्यू कहां से स्टार्ट होगा? 2 से स्टार्ट होगा. गॉट द पॉइंट? तो जब एक स्ट्रेट लाइन के फॉर्म में हमें कोरिलेशन को ग्राफिकल प्रेजेंटेशन के थ्रू दिखाने का होता है तो हम उसे क्या कहते हैं? लीनियर कोरिलेशन. व्हाट अबाउट द नॉन लीनियर और कर्विलीनियर? जब वो स्ट्रेट लाइन के फॉर्म में नहीं हो, वो एक कर्व बनाएगा जो प्रोपोर्शनेट चेंजेस को शो नहीं करता है. अगर y की वैल्यू 1 लिया है तो एक डाटा होगा, 2 लिया है तो जिस रेशियो से उसे बढ़ना चाहिए वो नहीं बढ़ेगा. But dear learners, let me make you aware about all these things. We are not going to bother about linear and non-linear equation about the plot. It means that we take only the linear graphical presentation for the measurement of correlation. We are not going to deal with the non-linear and curvilinear correlation at your level, in your syllabus. So first we have seen that positive, that is we symbolized when we calculate the value of correlation, positive and negative. The other side, in the scatter diagram, we plot the relationship between two variables in the form of a straight line curve. Whether it is moving in a positive direction or it is moving in a negative direction. We will see in the next slide. Okay? So this is what about the basics of the types of correlation which we have to understand. See the explanation of the positive correlation. one increases also, other also increases, or one decreases, other also decreases, that is known as positive correlation. For example, advertising and sales, law of supply, etc. More expenditure of money on advertisement, the more self promotion of the particular product. Clear? Now this is your duty to collect the examples and try to understand the concept of positive correlation. Here I have already given you the hints and concept of this, and it will make your task easier to understand correlation, I assure you. Negative correlation. The same examples are there. Law of demand, TV registrations, cinema, attendance. Okay, what we have seen that. कितने लोग जाते हो पिक्चर हॉल में पिक्चर देखने? Very less number of people. Because बहुत बड़े बड़े एलईडी घर में है, पिक्चर देख लेंगे, जो नई रिलीज पिक्चर हुई उसको देख लेंगे, फिर हॉल में जाने का क्या मतलब है? इतने लोगों के भीड़ में हो हल्ला करने, शोर के बीच में. हाँ, आउटिंग का मन है, दैट इज योर हॉबी, दैट इज योर शौक. बट इफ यू वांट टू सी द पर्टिकुलर पिक्चर एंड द स्टोरी, देन इट इज क्वाइट इजियर टू वॉच एट होम. Law of demand, that is the part of your syllabus. Let us move further. See the equation, y is equal to a plus by. What we see there? What a talks about? Fixed value. It talks about a given value on x, on y, whatever it is. B is rate of change. If you put the value of y, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, sorry, it is written by, it should be bx. Okay, if you put the value of y, x, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, then you will find the value of y. So this is what we say that linear equation, because constant value is there and this shows the rate of change which does not change, which remains constant. Only the you put the value of x, you will find the value of y. Value of x 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, then you will calculate the value of y. So this way you can make a plot for that. Next to this, y is equal to a plus bx upon plus c square. This is the equation for non-linear correlation, under which we will see that कि ये हमारा जो इक्वेशन है, you put the value and you will find the value of x. So it shows the different, it shows the different value of x and y. It means that कि proportionate values are not there in the two variables for which we are going to calculate the relationship and in terms of correlation. Okay. So this is what we say that non-linear equation that will not be discussed in your syllabus. So this way we can determine, and all these concepts help us to determine the relationship between two variables. So learners, let us take a small break, and after the break we will start the further concept of correlation. Okay.
प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने,
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने, हम
अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय के लोच से युक्त हो,
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
मित्रों हम उठे और जागे,
मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का है द्वार खुला सबकी खातिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर। दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बात,
कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने, हम
Okay, learners, welcome back after the break. What we were discussing about, that was linear and non-linear correlation. Okay, let me give you a small indication how we will do all these things in coming concept. What we see under linear equation, we will find the graph like this. But under this, we will find the graph like this. That is positive correlation. Because what we see that the line is moving in upward direction. But what happens in negative correlation? Under this, the line will be in opposite direction. This is called negative correlation. That is symbolizes as R. But here what we see that curve like this, curve like this. This is called non-linear curve, negative. Downward and upward sloping, increasing and decreasing. So this way, just I am giving you a hint that here we are very much concerned about the straight line. Okay? Let us move further. Now, the next topic is degrees of correlation, which I told you earlier that it talks about degrees and direction. Okay, so this way we will discuss about the degree and direction of the correlation. First you see absence of correlation, positive and negative, both sides 0. It means that we see the nature of two variables. How? We see the nature of two variables, x variable and y variable. What we find? There is a no relationship. It means that कि इसके बीच में, दोनों वेरिएबल्स के बीच में कोई रिलेशनशिप नहीं है. That is indicated by 0. ठीक, one is moving, is not affecting other. Both are in very random way. Clear? So, under this we see no correlation. Next to this, perfect correlation. Both variables are showing one-to-one relationship. That is +1 and -1. If they are positive in nature, it will show the direction in this direction, upward direction. Okay, here we see the negative direction. Clear? So this way what we find, it means that if in first case the entire data is scattered in some random way. Some data are here, some data are here, some data are here, some data are here. It means that both are covering the entire axis. How do we find? How do we plot the line to show the relationship? Let us see. If we find like this, see, some of the data too much far from here, some of the data too much close to here, too much far to here, it means that they are not, at closer distance. Getting the point? मतलब सम डाटा जो है वो बहुत दूर है. सपोज कि हमने 1 लिया, फर्स्ट डाटा, फर्स्ट वेरिएबल का, एक्स वेरिएबल का, वाई का लिया हमने 130. प्लॉट दिस 50, 20. Does it show any relationship between these two? सेकेंड डाटा मैंने लिया 2, that is 4. फिर भी वी फाइंड दैट कि 4 और 2 में कोई ना कोई रिलेशनशिप है उसके मूवमेंट में. बट पहले वाले में 50 is far away, 20 is far away from 1. And in second variable, what we find that 2 and 4 very much closer to each other. So it is quite easy to establish a relationship. In that way, what we find for data 3, for 4, 5, 6, and we see these are moving in a very random way. That not shows, closeness to the movement. In that situation, we find 0. But what we see, 1 to 1, it means that it shows the proportionate relationship. I mean to say that कि जितनी चेंज हमारे एक वेरिएबल्स में हो रहा है उतना ही चेंज नॉट लगभग परफेक्टली उतना ही चेंज हमारे वाई वेरिएबल में हो रहा है. सपोज कि वी टॉक अबाउट द कंसेप्ट ऑफ लॉ ऑफ डिमांड. वी टेक प्राइस 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. व्हाट वी फाइंड दैट 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड 10 units, 20 units, 30 units, 40 units, 50 units. You find the ratio and you will find both the data are moving and they are maintaining the proportionate relationship. So it also talks about the proportionate relationship between two variables that is shown with the help of perfectly correlated. It means that a perfect correlation is found between these two. There might be some difference, 1 का, 2 का, 3 का, 4 का, but closeness must be there to measure the value. Okay, what happens? जब हम इसे प्लॉट करेंगे तो ये हमें दिखाएगा most of the data are very much close to this. Okay, we do have graph in the next slide, but just to give you, an impression about what we are going to show in show you in the next slide. Okay, so this way we can plot and we can find whether they are positively related or negatively related. Let us move further. Higher degree, that is 0.752 plus 1. Negative 0.752 minus 1, moderate that is 0.252, 0.75 and 0.25 negative to negative 0.75 and low degree 0.2 plus 0.25, 0.2 minus 0.25. This is the range to make the interpretation of the relationship, that is perfectly correlated, high correlated, moderately correlated, and there is a low correlation between two variables. So you have to keep in your mind that whenever you are given the question related to the correlation and you find the value, you must mention that positively correlated and shows the high degree of correlation, moderate degree of correlation, low degree of correlation, and no correlation. Under plotting we will see how. Properties of correlation. See, first is the correlation coefficient R is the pure number and is independent of the units of measurement of the variables. ये उनके बीच से वैल्यू नहीं आता, इसका वैल्यू, अब आपका क्वेश्चन होगा कि R का वैल्यू 0 और 1 के बीच में क्यों होता है? Why? Which I told you earlier that the concept of correlation is a comparative study. The moment you make the comparative study between the two variables, then there is no unit at all. Got the point? इसलिए इसकी वैल्यू की जो रेंज है वो 0 to 1 के बीच में है. So simple way to understand. अगर 1 से ज्यादा वैल्यू आता है आपके कैलकुलेशन रॉन्ग है. कैलकुलेशन रॉन्ग है. अगर 1 से कम आता है फिर भी चलेगा, बट जैसे ही 1 से एक्सीड करेगा ये कैलकुलेशन में किसी स्टेप में गड़बड़ी हुई. दैट इज द सेल्फ वेरिफिकेशन मोड. So always keep in your mind that the comparative study does not have any unit for measuring the relationship between two variables. That is why. That is what it talks about. Next to this, the correlation coefficient R is independent of the change of origin. That is, कोई भी वैल्यू एडिशन करोगे, कोई भी वैल्यू सब्सट्रैक्ट करोगे, इससे इसके रिलेशनशिप पर कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, इसके वैल्यू पे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. ठीक है? इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ द पॉइंट ऑफ ओरिजिन. कीप इन योर माइंड. Is independent of, next, the correlation coefficient R is independent of change of a scale. That is, the value of R is not affected even if each of the individual value of two variable is multiplied or divided by sum or non-zero constant. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. The value of R will never be affected. Value of correlation cannot be exceed more than 1, which I told you, because it is a comparative value between two or more variables. That is why it is expressed in terms of coefficient. ये term coefficient जो है वो इस कारण से दिया गया है कि we calculate the comparative value. And all these 5 properties quite enough to make your understanding clear about the concept of correlation. Let us move further. Methods of determining correlation. First is a scatter plot. जो मैंने ग्राफ पेपर पे आपको इंडिकेशन दिया था लर्नर्स कि कैसे हम इसको प्लॉट करते हैं. नाउ यू विल फाइंड कि हाउ वी फिक्स अप द पॉइंट्स ऑफ टू वेरिएबल्स विद इन द रेंज ऑफ quadrant of two axes, and then we draw the line and find कि जो हमने लाइन ड्रॉ किया है how far the values are there in two variables. On the basis of that we can be able to make interpretation, make explanation and find the result. And we can further, that result will be used for, research work. So in future you continue economics in graduation and MA and doing PhD, all these basic concepts will help you to understand how to conduct and how to do research to show the relationship between two variables and more than two variables. Okay, this is the applicability of the concept at your basic level of study. Got the point? Next is Carl Pearson's coefficient of correlation, which I have shown you the first slide. And we cannot forget the contribution of the scholar who has provided a landmark achievement by introducing this concept and methods of calculating correlation for making the practical implication and interpretation of the relationship between two variables. Next is Spearman's coefficient of correlation. Now, Spearman, that is the name of the scholar, he was not fully satisfied with the Carl Pearson. So he has also developed an alternative. Carl Pearson, you have done a lot of work, but you have not shown the relationship between the rank of data might be something different. But rank must be there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. जो आप एक्सपीरियंस करते हो कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जामिनेशन में जो रैंक निकाली जाती है, किसी डिबेट कंपटीशन में फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड को जो प्राइज दिया जाता है, किसी भी क्लास में जो रिजल्ट निकलता है फर्स्ट परफॉर्मर, सेकंड परफॉर्मर, थर्ड परफॉर्मर, एकेडमिक परफॉर्मर of a performance of the students. Now, he has also established a relationship. Let us move further. A scattered plot. XY एक्सिस पे प्लॉट किया जाएगा, ठीक है, and then on the basis of that we will see the different degrees of coefficient of correlation by plotting points on that and drawing lines to show negative and positive correlation, coefficient of correlation. The first, perfect positive correlation. See, this is the plotting of two variables data. Have you ever find any data is differing from others? What it shows? What it talks about? See, all data is having both the variable x and y, x and y, x and y, x and y. कोई भी पॉइंट यहां पर डिफर नहीं कर रहा. जब दोनों वेरिएबल्स का नेचर इस प्रकार से हो, इस तरह से हो कि बोथ द पॉइंट्स आर कोइंसाइडिंग टू ईच अदर, दैट इज नोन एज परफेक्ट कोरिलेशन. क्लियर? इट मीन्स दैट कि दोनों के चेंजेबिलिटी में काफी सिमिलरिटी है. काफी क्या? परफेक्ट सिमिलरिटी है, नॉट काफी. दैट इज द परफेक्ट सिमिलरिटी इन बिटवीन द movement of two variables. See, high degree of positive correlation. What you find? Data are slightly scattered. Getting the point? This is the middle line of positive correlation, but you see the scattering of data, but near to each other. See? This, x, y, x, y, x, y, you see? The movement of the data is scattered, but close to each other. It means that कि बहुत ज्यादा स्कैटरिंग, बिखराव, फैलाव नहीं है डाटा के अंदर. तो जब डाटा का नेचर प्लॉट करने पर इस तरह से आएगा, that will be also known as the high degree of correlation, the value will move between 0.75 to 1. क्लियर? सो इस तरह से हम लोग इसको इंटरप्रेट कर सकते हैं. Next to this, low degree of positive correlation. You see, the scattering is bigger. देखो, आप देखो इसको ध्यान से कि जो भी प्लॉटिंग हमने किया है उस प्लॉटिंग में कितना फैलाव है. One data is near to this, other is far from the line. See this and far from the line. See the scattering, कैसे बिखराव है डाटा के बीच में. और ये सफिशिएंट है हमें बताने के लिए कि दिस इज शोइंग द लो डिग्री ऑफ पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन. क्लियर? High degree of correlation, which we discussed about. Let us move further. Low degree of correlation. Now, perfect negative correlation. Just compare it with the perfect positive correlation. The direction of the plotted dot was in upward direction. The direction of the plotted points, that is in negative direction. What it talks about? Negative perfectly correlation. It means that both the data are moving with the same proportion, same ratio, but they are negative. It means that one is increasing, the other is decreasing. In perfect competition, one is increasing, other is also increasing. But here it shows the opposite relationship. Next to this, see the downward scattering of data. This is called high degree of negative correlation. This is what we say that low degree of negative correlation. This is what we discuss about in today's discussion. Now, the basic concept of correlation. Okay. Now today's objective is to discuss and make you aware about the concept and applicability of the correlation in our day-to-day life. Okay, it will provide us a sound basis to study the interrelationship, correlationship between two variables. Not only two, more than two variables. But there is a limitation with your curriculum syllabus. That is why we talk about two variables. Clear? Next, we have seen that types of correlation, degrees of correlation, different types, positive, negative, linear, non-linear. Degrees के अंदर 5 degrees of correlation, 0, perfect, like this. मॉडरेटेड वैल्यू, हाई वैल्यू, लो वैल्यू, ये सब हम लोगों ने यहां पे डिस्कस किया. नाउ आई होप यू माइट बी गेटिंग अ बेटर अपॉर्चुनिटी टू अंडरस्टैंड द कंसेप्ट, एंड इन नेक्स्ट प्रोग्राम वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट हाउ टू कैलकुलेट, अंडर विच वी विल टेक द स्टैटिस्टिकल data and use the formula suggested by Carl Pearson, coefficient of correlation, and Spearman rank correlation. On the basis of that, we will learn about how to calculate and the methods of calculation. See, the formula is there. See, the table is there. Actual mean method, assumed mean method, okay, rank correlation, and furthermore. Clear? So let us finish the today's program, and I hope you will do practice and find the better opportunity to understand and learn the concept and interpretation of correlation. Okay, all the best.
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने,
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने,
अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय